this one? I hit this?
You click that little button. Yep, there you go. Oh, who's coming? Well, hello. Roz and I are getting set up. We are excited because we are going to be on Periscope and we're going to be on Facebook. We're going to be talking about estate planning. So can you see the excitement? I thank you so much for joining me. So we are just getting set up. We're about to start in about a couple of minutes. So just stay tuned. If you have, and I want to thank you so much. Who's the daddy? And I love BBWC for joining me. And be sure, if you see those three little dots, share it. If you know somebody who could really benefit from estate planning basics, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, just, answering some questions, some basic questions, then please share it. So we're going to go live on Facebook now.
Yes.
So we are excited. So you're going to see me going back and forth and back and forth. And hello, Facebook. Roz and I are here, and we're going to get ready in a couple of minutes to talk about estate planning. So, get your pen, get your pencil if you have a question. But just, sit back and listen to all the wealth of information she's going to be sharing with us tonight. So thank you so much for joining me. And hello. Did you go live? Oh, that's right. You got a touch screen.
Oh, I don't. That's my other laptop. Sorry.
See all the wonderful things you get to see behind the scenes. You think something's a touch screen and it's not. But that's because we got two cell phones. Yeah, we got two cell phones and two laptops going on here. So here we go.
Hello, everyone.
So we're just going to wait one more minute, like about 7:04, and we are going to get started. So you may see me in and out. You may see me looking down because I'll be trying to answer some questions, ask some questions, I should say. So, but thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. This is going to be a really informative live tonight. No. This is because that is different than this. But I'm just looking, seeing. Okay. Oh. And hello, Harold. Hello, thank you so much for joining. When the names pop up.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. You see names?
Not yet.
Okay.
Two people are on you.
Oh, wow.
Yep, I see it. So you want to get started?
Okay, we can.
All right, so welcome tonight to Estate Planning 101. My name is Janet Taylor, and for those of you who do not know me, I am Janet Taylor of Totally Organized, which is a professional organizing company, but a lot of you may know me as Organizer Janet. And this is sort of like a live version of my Got Clutter, Get Organized podcast. And I wanted to do this because Roslyn and I have been having discussions back and forth about estate planning, what people know, what people don't know. And part of what I do, a lot of you know, is I go in and I help people get organized. And, as I'm organizing the paperwork, I will see maybe things that they should have, that they shouldn't. And so that's why Roz and I really wanted to come to you so you'll get a better understanding of the importance of estate planning, but also the things and you really truly need. So I'm going to now turn it over to Roslyn, so let her introduce herself, and then after that I'm going to start asking her some questions because I want to know too what all the 101 on estate planning is as well.
Thank you, Janet. I just want Janet to say a few more words for my guests who are not familiar with Janet, who is totally organized. Janet was on the Rachel Ray show. She is a superior, excellent, above all, totally organized professional. We call her a life coach as well. Janet, tell them what happened on the Rachel Ray show.
Okay.
I love it. I love the story.
Well, okay, so on a Monday I get an email saying this is the Rachel Ray show. Please contact us. I thought it was a spam, but I did reach out, and basically they were looking for an organizer to come on the show. I was one of several organizers that they were communicating with. So a week goes by of back and forth communication. That was a Monday. By Friday, they let me know that I was one of the organizers chosen to be on the show, and I need to be in New York by that next Wednesday, which proves organization does truly pay and benefit you. So I go on the show, and it's me and another organizer from the New Jersey, New York area. We share tips. We have the wonderful Peter Walsh judging, the king, the guru, judging us, and he crowned me the clutter-free queen, which is what you see behind me.
I had to make sure everyone saw the
is the crown. You can see the crown. You can see the crown and the trophy. And for those of you on my Periscope, there is the trophy. So that is one of the wonderful things that I experienced last year. But that just proves that organization pays, because I had to be prepared. Friday, they were like, Janet, we want you in New York on Wednesday, and I had to really make that happen.
And see, God made room for her gift and placed her before great men, okay? So she became internationally known, and she travels internationally organizing. Okay, so back to estate planning. We are here because we know that this is an area that needs some understanding. A lot of people really don't have a full understanding of what estate planning is. And so I am Roslyn Morris, and you're going to see me looking at different in different directions, because we have like 5 different social media devices here, okay? And I've been practicing law for about 25 years, and I am licensed in PA, in DC. I have partnerships with attorneys in New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, and Virginia. So we are diverse and we travel far. I've been doing estate planning not for the total 25 years, but for at least 20 years. And I've taught at Georgetown University's law school as a law professor, so I pretty much know what I'm talking about. And I have an area of real estate, which is really one of my very intense areas that I focus on. And so with estate planning, there's just so much to do, right? And so much to talk about and to give you an understanding of what it is. So I want to say that I am located here in the area of close to Philadelphia, PA. I recently relocated, I should say, at 150 Monument Road, Suite 205 in Bala Kenwood, PA. And you can reach me at 215-324-4424. And so we can get started now. So the major question is, Janet,
what is an estate?
Okay, so when we talk about an estate, we're not only talking about when one is dead, right, or deceased, which really kind of scares people off. I'm not really sure why. But it encompasses you, the person, the individual, okay? It also encompasses everything that you really touch and put your hands to. That really comprise who you are in the natural realm. So if you have assets, your personal property, your real estate property, your business, and not only that, but it's talking about your health and also your other finances and your liabilities, okay? And so the estate consists of all of those things, which comprises who you are here while you're on this earth, okay? And how when we plan, we want to plan so that you will be able to, properly manage and flourish, because that's our desire, that we shall prosper, right? And you want to walk in wisdom. Planning will help put you in a really good and safe place. Okay, so it's for the time that you are living, right? Because you want to make sure that you can live the fullest of your life. You want to make sure that, in every estate plan, there should definitely be several types of documents and items in place to make sure you have a good, full, healthy plan that will benefit you. The first one is a document called the Durable Financial Power of Attorney.
Okay.
The second document is called your Healthcare Medical Directive, okay, Power of Attorney. Now, as I speak to you, there are the documents will still pretty much be the same, but how they're written out can differ from state to state. So you have to be aware of that. But what I'm talking about in terms of the documents, in terms of the description and the procedures, pretty much are common. Okay.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So here in PA, we join our Healthcare Medical Directive Power of Attorney document. We join it with our the living will. Okay. And we'll talk about these documents a little later. I'm just going to talk about them. And then we have what's called our last will and testament, which people know about, and which some people need to do, right? And they don't do.
Yeah, and it is true.
Right. Go ahead. You want to
Well, and I was thinking because, a couple of things. One, because, of all the different documents you were saying, what I find sometimes is they have the documents, but like I heard in a recent situation, they had the documents, but they were not properly notarized. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately the person passed away, so they're not notarized. The will wasn't notarized, and it wasn't even signed, so it's really not valid.
It's of no effect.
Yeah, right. And also sometimes even with having all the documents, they're all over the place and not really in a central location, yes, which organization pays. Mm-hmm. So that's key as well. So why should a person plan? Why should I plan, Rob?
Okay, I'm going to tell you why you should plan, but let me finish listing just the different things.
Okay.
Okay, so in addition to a will, some people have trust, and we'll talk about that. Trust, in my opinion, should be done if you're talking about, if you want to put, real estate into a trust, it should be done if you're interested in holding on to it from generation to generation, then it's cost effective, right? And with that, also, you want to learn exactly the title. What type of title is your property in? People don't know, but legally it makes a difference, okay? In addition to that, you should have beneficiaries that you designate on your checking account, on your investments. And also, if you have children, you want to name a guardian. This is something you need to think about. You love your babies, right? And so if something were to happen to you, doesn't mean that you're going to die, but if you come incapacitated, either mentally or physically, and you really can't take care of them in the way that you used to, and you know the way that they need to be, there's a guardian you can name to come in, and making sure you take time to pick the correct person, someone who's going to love your babies like you love them and take care of them, okay? And so that goes back to naming agents. And so in the documents that I described, there are agents that you name who can stand in your stead, right? And make decisions on your behalf when you're not available, okay, or you're unable to make those decisions. So I always tell my clients that, that you definitely need to name someone that you love and that you trust, right? Definitely that you trust. Mm-hmm. But what's most important, or just as important, they have to love and trust you back, okay? Mm-hmm. And they need to be responsible. Don't just name your daughter to be your agent for your financial power of attorney, or your son or a child, if you know they don't know how to manage their money, right? Mm-hmm. If they haven't proven themselves, it's all right, because everybody has their strengths and everyone has their weaknesses. Nothing personal, but you want to name someone who's just as, or even more so, responsible than you are when it comes to managing their assets, okay? So those are the documents, and those are items that really need to be included into one's plan.
Okay.
Okay, so your other question was?
Why should I plan?
Right.
Yeah, that's
because you don't want you yourself to be caught up into some mess about not having your items in order when it comes to a time that you need to have them in the place and to be found, right? And you want to make sure that you leave your loved ones with the most that you can leave them, right? And it doesn't even have to be an individual, I tell people, right? Because some people don't have loved ones, but you may have a charitable organization that you may be able to leave something to. I have clients who say, I have nothing. I'm like, you know what? Let me give you, and I'll share with all of you, if you stay on for the next three series, it's a 3-part series, and you give us and send us your email address, Janet or I, then I will send you what I call my estate and financial planning checklist. This is maybe not a fully exhaustive list because everyone's unique, but it does cover a volume of items that will be able to help you, help your agent, the one that you name, who's going to be responsible to assist you during the time that you're living, and then with the will during the time that you make your transition home to be with the Lord. And this document will really help you. But also we plan because, as I said, we want to make sure that the ones that we love benefit, right? We want to make sure that we benefit. What we do is we give a holistic approach. So we not only look at your estate, but we also look at your financial planning, show you how we can help you to really create an estate immediately, and that's done with a life insurance policy. And one thing about a life insurance policy, it does help you to create an estate immediately. And it's important that you do an assessment of the type of policy that you have, because some of us don't have life insurance policies and we need them. Some of us have them, but we don't have enough. And some of us have the wrong kind. And so what do I mean we don't have enough? Some people think that a life insurance policy is just for your burial. No, it is not. Life insurance, and this is one example of an insurance policy because there's long care term, but right now we're going to focus just for an example on life insurance policy. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. So you have to make sure that when you're thinking about a life insurance policy, you have one for, to make sure in situations, because some people definitely, we don't know the time, the day, or the hour, right? And so some people may die sooner than they even thought that they would. And so let's say you die and pass away at a young age, and I didn't want to get on the whole dying pit, but I know that there are cultures that just want to shun away from it. But you do a disservice not only to yourself, but to the people you say you love, okay? So it's about thinking about what type of legacy do you want to leave, okay? And so you have to make sure that when you do pass away, if you look at your estate, right, if you organized it, some of us leave behind bills. They have to be paid, okay? And so you want to make sure your life insurance policy covers your bills. If you have children or people that you care about, that you would love to see, if they're younger, you would love to see that they have an education or that they have a good life, right? You can start a generation of prosperity, right? You can do that. So that goes all into the planning, right? So now if you have a mortgage that could get covered, it could be paid. You won't be leaving your loved ones behind with all this debt. You won't have to have your loved ones do a chicken dinner, a GoFundMe account. You know what? Because we know that the day that we get here is numbered, right? As I say, we don't know the day, the hour, the time, but we know that it's just, we're here for a period of time. That's it. And so you want to live it to the fullest and not leave a whole lot of mess behind. Leave order. Now we have people that we know, internationally known, Aretha Franklin. She gave a whole lot to us, but she left a whole lot of mess behind, okay? So let's not do that. Let's not be that person. And so even if you have what we call a modest estate, it's yours. It represents who you are, and you can go out and give all the glory, okay, about one who is organized when you do that. But it doesn't have to be modest, because if you do your searching and you go to the right estate and financial planner, they can help you to have an estate that will leave a great legacy for the ones that you leave behind. Like I said, it could be for a nonprofit organization. It could be for your church. It could be for your loved ones. It could be for a stranger. It could be for that orphanage. I mean, It could be for whoever you want it to be.
Mm-hmm.
But let it be. Okay? Let it be, and let it be great. Let it be good. Establish a great legacy. And so those are a few reasons why. To help others, to avoid mess and confusion, to minimize legal expenses. Here in the Commonwealth of PA, we have something special, another tax ramification that we have to face, and that's called the inheritance tax return. Every state does not have it, but we have it here in the state of PA. What is the inheritance tax return? It is only a return that one has to complete. It will be your agent if you were to pass away, right? And so what the state does, it looks at all of your assets, and it looks at your liabilities, and they deduct dollar from dollar all of your liabilities from your assets. Mm-hmm. If you have value left, that's taxable.
Wow.
Okay. And so that needs to be planned for. Okay. So, and it can be. We can minimize it based on the laws as they stand today. And we can make sure that your family, your loved ones benefit the fullest from your estate if you just plan correctly. Okay.
Wow. Planning is the key.
It is.
Planning is the key. So, Roz, in all of that, my question is, why should I buy insurance and invest my savings in regards to the estate planning piece?
Right. Okay, so we talked about why it's important to buy life insurance, because it's an income protector, and it can really truly establish a legacy for your children, and it's tax exempt. It's free. So the proceeds that are received from the life insurance policy, they don't go onto the inheritance tax return, and they're not included into the deceased person's federal income tax return as well. Because when you pass away, you should complete your federal income tax, or your executor should complete it, okay? And you do it in time life. And so, like I said, you establish an estate right away, you conserve it, and it's just important to have. It brings peace to everybody, or it can, if you do it the right way. And you shouldn't give money to people, a whole big lump sum to someone, if you know they're not responsible enough to spend it correctly. So you could put a trust into place in advance, right? And you can make sure that they get a certain amount of money each month. I mean, there is just so many different ways you can do to make sure that, the person benefits from it. So, that's for life insurance. There is long-term care insurance. We're living longer as a whole society. Seniors, mature people are living longer, like myself. And so we want to make sure that we don't outlive our money, right? We want to make sure that we're well taken care of, so we should invest our savings, right? Not into a savings account only, because a savings account reaps a rate of return of maybe, I think the highest I've heard thus far, which is very rare, and that was for children, really, 4%. But on the average, savings account only gives a 0.05% interest. Okay? It's going to take a long time for your money to double up and grow. And so there are different vehicles that you can put your money in so that your money can grow and so that it can support you. And there are investment tools out there, product out there that you need to only pay $25 a month. Now, we're talking about investing in you and taking care of you and loving on you, okay? Not just for today, but for tomorrow, because we all want to live a long life, sound mind and strong body, right? And so if you put money away a little bit every month, and you do it in the market, right? But a market, or you invest it, then it will grow at a faster rate, right? With your Roth IRA versus the savings account or the IRA. IRA. Or if you have a pension plan or a 401k, that'll definitely grow faster than. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, all those things will be explained, when you go to consultations, right? With different professionals. Now, we provide a holistic approach, as I say. We do the legal section, portion, and we also do the financial services. And Janet is one of my teammates when it comes to financial services.
Yes.
And so we are trained professionals in that area and licensed. So being taken care of, going to see a professional is just too important for you and for those that you love, that you profess to love.
And that is so true. So, Roz, in all of the planning, one of the things you mentioned was an executor beneficiary. So, how do you choose those people? I mean, for some people it's easy, but for some people it may be a little challenging. And I know for me, I'm thinking, okay, I have a person in mind, but should I get somebody else just in case? Because you don't want to overburden somebody, because this is a big responsibility with managing somebody else's estate.
Right. And so what I tell my clients when it comes to naming agents, I told you what the qualifications are. Mm-hmm. But also, that's what gives you flexibility when you plan. Some people have alternate agents, or some people have joint agents. Alternate agents mean that there are two at one time, and they're both primary. And so one can be it if they're available, the other one can be it. They don't always have to agree, right? But they need to, right? It comes down to your state. And then the joint agents, they definitely have to agree if they're primary, because we always tell our agents to pick our clients to pick a primary agent and a successor, just in case the primary agent is not available when you need the assistance, right, for them to come take care of your business. That successor can step into place, right? Because you matter, right? We all matter. We want to make sure that the people are available to take care of our business. And people are like, what kind of business would I need taken care of? Okay, well, I'm living. Okay, for instance, you could be traveling. 1 year, I traveled to Kenya for the summer. I took my youngest daughter and I left my two oldest daughters here in the United States. They were in college. And so at the time, I owned a rental property. And so one of the tenants, who was friends, so-called friends with our family, actually knew my oldest daughter, decided that he didn't want to pay rent while I was away. And thought he could get over, I guess. And so we've had power of attorney documents since I was in my 20s. I owned my first property at 19. Boom, I'm going to take care of my business, right? So as my daughters got older and proved themselves to be responsible, I named them to be my agents, right? And so my oldest daughter, who's now an attorney, but she wasn't at the time, she called me up, or maybe she emailed me, because in Kenya, this was when email kind of first started. Right?
Okay.
In Kenya, where it was a little more advanced here in the United States. But anyway, she communicated with me, and I told her what to do. And so she wrote him a letter, notice to quit letter, like pay or get out, right? And the next step is eviction, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so he got wise, and so she knew what she doing, and she had the power of attorney paper to act in my stead. Okay, and just because she was the daughter, she can't do it just because she was the daughter. Okay. That's why you need the legal papers, because being a blood relative doesn't automatically give you the authority to act on behalf of a loved one. And so that's what you need to know.
Okay. That's good to know. So in all of the planning, my next question is, do you follow up and review clients' plans? Because I know things change, like somebody's single, they get married.
Yes.
Or the kids may be little, but then life takes on and then the next thing you know, they're 20, they're 30. And so do you kind of like review, have something?
Yes,
okay.
I do. We charge a small fee. And I call my clients maybe once a year. Some of them, because I know what's going on with them, I'll call them once a year just to follow up. Other ones I'll call every other year just to see, have there been any life changes, right? Because as Janet said, she gave great examples of different life changes, marriage, or, someone passing away, a new baby, right? Just, moving into a new home. And so those changes matter, and they can affect how your estate is planned out. And so because of different laws, can also change, and they may have an impact on your estate and how we planned it out. Because I always tell my clients, as the law stands now, this is how this plan can benefit you. Once I, make an assessment of everything that you have, okay? And so, yes, I definitely do a follow-up on a regular basis.
That is so good.
I want to say hi to everyone out there.
Yes,
I see you. We appreciate you being on. I hope you share this with everyone because it pertains to all of us. I call up a few of my clients, the ones that I have not done a plan with, because, as I said, when I first returned to Philadelphia, coming back from D.C., working at Georgetown Law, I was just basically just doing real estate and counseling business owners, right, investors. And, the real estate market was really hot then. This was in, when was it? The mid 2000s. Okay, 2005, 2004. That's when I started here on my own. And, I'll call clients now because I'm really into the thick of it. This is really like 90% of what I do now. And one of my clients said, "Oh, no, we don't need that right now." I'm like, "Oh, yes, you do." Because I knew that he had like several multifamily units. And I'm like, yes, because people think when you say estate planning, they automatically think about dying. That's not all that it's about at all. And so, especially if people have some health challenges, right? And so you want to make sure, and I'm not just talking about because it'll cause them to pass away. No, it could cause them to become incapacitated on different levels, and therefore they may not be able to conduct their business personally themselves. And so it's about me looking out for you. That's what your attorney is trying to do. Look out for you, because I pray over my clients. I really care about my clients, and it's really about empowering them. My goal is to put my clients in a better place spiritually, mentally, talking about what's going on in our environment, what's going on in our government, right? All that plays a part in what we do. And so when my clients leave, my prayer is that they are empowered, and more so than what they were when they first, came along and joined on. Okay.
And that's why. And that's why I wanted to do this series with Roz, is to empower you, but not only empower you, but so you can empower your family and even share with, friends and in the community, because this is something that we need to really be more organized with, so that, one, we can find stuff, important documents the first time we look, but also we know, okay, this is how much my estate is. Oh, well, I now added another property. Now I need to really kind of revise things, because I think sometimes we think we have everything in order, but then there's all of those life changes that happen that we need to just go back in and just add a little something else and just, revise things. So that's why Roz and I wanted to come together. One, to make sure you're organized, make sure you plan, but make sure you just have all the documents you need and better understand what estate planning is. Because before I had a conversation with Roz, I really didn't know what it is, but now I think differently, because it's like, oh yeah, I need to, have money set aside for the people I want to leave money to, but also I want to leave a legacy. So, and that's something you can do too. You may have an organizational group and you believe in because of what they're doing in the community, and that, a little bit of this amount could really benefit from them, and you could be a blessing to them. So
yes, and also when you make a charitable organization, this is what I have to tell my clients, because they get excited about this. On the inheritance tax return, right? This is once someone passes away. That's also deducted and reduces the formula that is used, and it reduces the tax liability, right? And so just giving, when you pay forward, when you give blessed for it. Okay? So it is just so important that you come to a full understanding and that you don't delay. For instance, I remember Janet and I was having a conversation about John Singleton, and Janet informed me, because I just knew John Singleton, he's a younger, a little more astute and wiser, that he had a will. So he did have a will. But when he actually had the will drafted, we're told that it was younger and he only had one child. Mm-hmm. And that will didn't really take in consideration future children. I didn't see it, but this is what the newspaper said. Mm-hmm. Okay. And so by the time he passed away, though, he had 7 children, and they have different mothers. And so, that can get to maybe causing confusion, right? And so that's not what we want to leave for our family. You shouldn't want to leave confusion for your family. And so another thing is the whole organization. We know people, and an insurance company does. There's an article out there now. There are insurance companies that are holding on to policies that are over 200, 300 years old because nobody claimed them. And some states have come after those insurance companies, filing lawsuits, because those insurance companies know that those people are gone. They have gone home and made their transition home to the Father. And they have not tried to find these children or the offspring or any type of heir for these deceased people. That's another reason why we need to organize and put our documents together. I tell all my clients, you don't have to pay money by every year by investing in a safe deposit box. You can if that makes you feel comfortable. Mm-hmm. But if you do, you need to let someone know where the key is, mm-hmm. okay? Because if you don't and the key can't be found, 1, they have to know about it, the safe deposit box, to get it.
Yeah.
And then 2, it sends them through a lot of legal ramifications. And then once they finally convince and prove what they have to prove to show that they are heir and they have a right to open up the safe deposit box, then they have to pay for a locksmith to come in, another cost, to open up the box. So for what? And to find sometimes just, well, we won't get into the contents, but sometimes there's nothing in there. but and sometimes there is.
Yeah.
But why go through those steps? And then some people find it to be so convoluted and just too much trouble that they miss out on their blessing.
Yeah.
I have this one story to tell, though. I thought it was so cute. And this was an older woman who did have family members, but none of her family members ever came to visit her. But her neighbor took good care of her. And she kept telling her neighbor, whatever you do, don't throw away my mattress. Promise me that you will. I'm giving my mattress to you. And don't throw it away. And the lady was like, okay. So she was wondering why she said that, because she's like, this is an old lumpy mattress. She's like, I don't want this old beautiful. But the lady made her promise. And they grew and really had a nice, strong, nurturing mother-daughter relationship. Mm-hmm. And so the lady finally, she went home and made her transition home to the Lord. And the lady went over to start cleaning out her property. Now, I'm not really sure she had a will. Yeah, mm-hmm. she did. She did have a will. Mm-hmm. And she left everything to this young lady. Mm-hmm. And so, going over to her home, cleaning things out, and she saw this old lumpy mattress, right? And so she got really emotional. She started crying. And so she started crying and laying on this mattress, right? Just, yeah. I don't know why she have this mattress, but, it just became this thing to her. Then she's like, gosh, this is so lumpy. It became so uncomfortable for her. Mm-hmm. She's like, what is in this mattress? So it had a cover. Mm-hmm. And so she opened up the cover. Over 6 figures of cash money was inside that mattress. Okay. That's why she told her and promised her. Yeah. Now, that was a blessing because the lady didn't tell her what was in the mattress. Just like you don't have to tell your loved ones. If you don't want your loved ones to know, you don't have to tell them. But see what she did? She planned it out. She made her promise.
Yeah.
I tell my clients, you don't have to tell everybody exposed to, who you're leaving your assets to, as well as your liabilities. But what you can do is leave a letter in a particular place, in addition to your will. I'm talking about personal property, cash money, because, well, we won't get into that. But if you want, because some people keep cash money in their house, right? Yeah. Or whatever. It doesn't have to be. But whatever is valuable to you. You can leave a letter, and in the letter, you could tell the agent, the executor, the agent, look in this drawer if something happens to me. And in that envelope can be everything you want them to know. And they don't have to know until the time it's needed to know. Okay? So that could be your will. That could be every will that I prepare now, I attach what's called a memorandum. And so that's like a letter of intent. That's another thing that the estate plan should include in. Memorandum or a letter of intent. Those are just notes that you make saying that you want, let's say, this special lamp to go to so-and-so. Because we also know sometimes in some families and, communities, people come into your home or the home of the deceased and things go walking out. I'm not talking about stealing, but I'm just talking about, can I have this? Can I have that? And you're mourning. You're like, oh, yeah, okay. And but if I tell my clients, if you don't include it in the will, definitely include it in the memorandum. But if you even don't include it there, label it. Put labels on your different items saying who this should go to, who this should go to. And that way, nobody can deny it, okay? And so there are so many ways to get around it. Another thing that's vitally important, because I've seen so many broken people in my office. I'm talking about doing serious deliverance and the call of salvation. Takes place in our office. So many broken people come in. I always tell people, and this is on my checklist too, if you have secrets, right? It could be a secret family recipe, okay? Because that's how famous Amos became famous, right? Because his grandmother passed on the recipe. That's what you should do. If you have secrets, you need to pass them on. Put it in that letter if you don't have enough, courage to tell the person the secret. You need to put it in a letter and give it to them. Or if you know that your auntie or your uncle or someone in your mother, your father has a secret recipe too, and some people do like a little pinch here, a handful of that. You go behind them while they're making that secret cake or that secret barbecue sauce. My BFF is on right now. Her father had a secret barbecue sauce, and that barbecue sauce was great. My son-in-law has a good barbecue sauce too. Outstanding. And so what you need to do while they're putting it together, you need to stand there and like, what's that measurement? What's that? And you need to start writing it down. Okay, and so they like, I take a bit of this, and so you go get your measuring tool and like, okay, let me see what that is, and put that in that measuring tool, then you can find out what that measurement is. Okay, so there's ways that you have to take on a responsibility too. Okay, when it comes to the estate planning of that loved one and yourself. Okay, it's just so important.
It is. It truly
But
is.
You see how we can be creative? It's really, it doesn't have to be doomy and gloomy.
It doesn't.
How do you want to be remembered? Right?
And that is true. And I'll share this. My oldest client was 99 years young. 99. She called me in because she was the executor of her two sisters. And the one thing that she wanted was, she said, Janet, I need all of that paperwork organized, because it was thrown in a box. Everybody's life insurance policies, wills, medical directives was just all thrown together. So I basically separated everything. But not only did I separate everything, I took away all of the wills that were not valid and got them shredded.
Excellent.
So that she said it gave her peace, because she says, now I have a box and everything is organized and I know where it is. So, and that's another piece of it too. So you go see Roz and you get all those documents you need, but just make sure that they are organized in whatever form you have, and make sure somebody else knows where it is. Like Roz said, you have a safe deposit box, but then nobody knows where the keys is, or they come across like 20 keys and they're trying to figure out, well, what is this key to? So please do that as well. Yes. So Roz, this has been good. This has been fun. This has been part one.
Yes, part one.
This is part one, people.
So look on my screen. Janet and I And I want to thank Janet for having me a host on her show, The Queen of the Clutter. Yes! So Janet and I are definitely partnered because I have clients who have a lot of items that they need to purge. And so I will give Janet a call, have my client give her a call, and she puts their life back in order. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's vitally important. And Janet knows how many years she should hold on to things. Okay. This is her area. We need to stick in our area, right? And we need to call on the people who have the expertise that we need. Okay. I always tell my clients, so how much you pay for your cable? $200-$300? Okay. I think that,
yeah.
you know, if you can put that in your budget, right? And it gives you entertainment, and that's cool. That's good.
Yeah.
But now, you know, put some money aside in your budget for you.
That's
so
right.
you can really get your things in order. So one last tidbit. This is what I tell my clients too. Another way you can gather your estate together when it comes to your assets, finding out all those assets that may be out there that you haven't claimed, is to go to unclaimed properties. There's a site called Unclaimed Properties in every state. The government put that in force back in the 80s. And every state has one. So every state that you ever lived in, you need to go to that state's website, their Unclaimed Properties website, to see if there's a little treasure out there for you. And so I've helped a lot of people. I helped my BFF. She had money that was in Florida, just out there waiting for her. Her name, Bling Bling, Bling Bling. And so we looked in Florida, and there was money out there for her. She was so happy and excited. That's just one of so many. I mean, just our personal story. And this is why I really talk about this. My sister, I have an older sister, and when this first started back in the 80s, I think, it was the early 80s, and they started advertising on TV, making people aware that you may have money out there in one of the states that you lived in. You need to go and find out if your state is holding on to money for you. That means jobs that you had that you didn't even know that you had a check that they were supposed to pay you, and they only supposed to hold on to this money for so many years, and after those years expire, then they are mandated, required to send it to the Department of Revenue of every state, okay, of the state of their company. So there was a class action lawsuit back in the late 70s, and they paid out in the early 80s. And it was a lawsuit against those penny life insurance companies. Okay. That's why it says you may have life insurance, but you may not have the right kind. Mm-hmm. And if anybody knows who grew up in a community of people of color, I remember when I was a little girl, every week I would see this same man who was not of our persuasion walking around to not every house, but to most houses, because back in the day, that older generation, they believed in life insurance, okay? But, however, the life insurance policies, if they were $100, if they were $500, that was a good thing, right? But if he came around every week collecting 25 cents, 50 cents, and they paid on it for 20, 30 years, you done pay 5, 10, 100 times more than what that life insurance policy was worth. And so there was a class action suit because they were ripping off the community, right? And so, and then some of those policies got converted to whole life insurance policies with bigger companies, you know, with the settlement fee. Okay. So by the time the settlement, that class action suit settled, my grandfather, who had one of those, or probably a few of those penny life insurance policies, he was deceased. And so they couldn't locate him. And so my sister would go onto this unclaimed property site, and I used to say, why are you putting in Grandpa's name? He's been deceased for 10 years. My grandfather was the nucleus of our family. You know, everybody has a rock, right? Every generation. And so, you know, that kind of just brought back some sentimental things for me. But, and so she put everybody's name, even mine. And when she discovered my grandfather's name, my aunties and my uncles were happy because there was a nice lump sum in there for them, because they were the heirs. So he actually had a will. My grandmother had a will. My grandfather had a will. My father had a will. Everybody had a will. I actually did my mother's estate.
Okay.
So I put all her estate together. So I've opened up the invitation to all my family members because we're gonna change things around in our family. We're going to create some great legacies. That's my desire and my prayer, right? That we will make a change and we will be people who are planners, okay?
Yeah.
And really leave a great legacy.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
everybody watching, it has been a pleasure. It has been a joy. And this is just the first, like we said, of 3. So the next month, we will be talking about how to have the discussion with your parents or possibly the older adults in your family.
Yes.
So we'll be coming back. So
October the 14th.
Yep, October
the second Tuesday.
Yep,
right?
October 14th, the second Tuesday.
7 p.m.
Yep, Periscope, Facebook. I know I'm having issues getting on and off, but that's okay.
That's okay.
You are still going to see, my Facebook page is still going to see the entire interview.
Yes.
So I thank
We'll
all
share
of
mine.
Yep, we're going to share everything. I thank everybody for joining
Me
us
too.
tonight.
This is new for me. I haven't been on Facebook really, especially after, since I guess March of 2018, I kind of pretty much stopped. I didn't know how to use it then. But because of Janet asking me to, inviting me on her show to do this, I'm learning. And so this is great. I hope you all benefited from this.
Yes, and I hope you share it. Share, and tell others about it.
Please. Please. It's our duty to pay forward.
Yes.
To empower each other, okay?
Yes.
So you know that what the word says, a good person leaves an inheritance for not only their children, right? But for their children's children. So that's what your desire should be, to leave a great legacy and to be a blessing forward, okay? And your children could be, and some people have dogs that they really love. So you want to make sure your dog is taken care of and not to the curb or sent to the SPCA.
We don't want that. We don't want
right?
that.
So, I mean, I'm serious, right? Dogs are in wills, too.
Yeah.
And you want to make sure they're well taken care of.
Yeah.
And leave them with someone who really loves them as much as you. And that's any pet.
So we thank you so much. We will be signing off, but we will be checking all the comments because I see there's a few comments.
Right. And I know I didn't go into details about the power of attorney documents, and we'll do that the next time because then we'll talk about the importance of how to talk to your parents, and we'll talk to what it is you'll be talking about to your parents and why.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we thank you again, and of course, if you want to reach Roz, you can give them your number and your contact information.
Okay, my number is 215-324-4424. My main office is at 150 Monument Road, Bala Kenwood, PA, 19004, Suite 207.
And of course, everybody knows they can reach me via Twitter, via Instagram, Organizer Jan, and of course on my Facebook page. So I thank everyone. You continue to have a clutter-free evening and an organized week. Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.